Hi guys, it's Blackie. And today we're going to talk about the M65 field jacket and liner as a sleep system. Okay? I've had quite a few people have asked me questions and things after I showed the pillow, and I'm going to re-show you the pillow in just a minute. But I want to talk about how using this as a sleep system, because it's what you got. You got very little else available, and you're out, you've been trapped out, or back in the day it was because you were serving in the military and you were going to be out on a forward position, you're in a listening post, you're in a foxhole or something like that, and there ain't no going to the rear to take a nap. You got to be here. Your buddy's going to watch while you're awake. That's how to make this more comfortable to get us through a cold night. Okay, now first thing is I've got my liner in here. We're going to take that out in just a minute and talk about it. But let's talk about wearing this to try to get as much protection out of it as we can. First off, as I pointed out in my M65 video, you can put more than one liner in here. So you could put 2 up to 3 depending on how oversized you make the jacket to begin with. I wear a large and I get an extra large jacket because I'm expecting to have multiple layers on when I put this jacket on, of long underwear, etc. Maybe a sweatshirt. So I don't want a jacket that's too tight to begin with. And I see this problem a lot in people when they're buying hunting clothes and things like that. They'll come in, they'll go, oh, I wear a size 32 pants. I tell them get a 36 or a 40. Oh no, I'm going to get a 32. And then when it's 18 degrees in early February, hunting season, and they're coming in on that morning, they look like a Pillsbury Doughboy. They can't even bend their arms. You're going, you got an extra large? No. So get your outer coat to fit where I can put multiple layers on it. Even when I haven't got these extra layers on, it's still warmer that way because I'm trapping warm, dead air. Tight does not have any dead air space. I want it loose and fluffy around me to trap those pockets of warm air. Okay? Next, here at the neck is a big place that we lose. Well, the M65 is very good for that because you can zip up and then turn the collar up. Now, if you're going to be wearing it, go ahead and put the hood up, because you can put the hood over your hat, or you can put the hood over your head and put your hat on it to help hold around your ears. Okay? Zip all the way up here, and then you've got the Velcro that you're going to unhook and put across to the other side, like this. That seals up this neck opening all the way around your neck to keep the heat from being lost out. The snaps right here are what was often used in combat, where don't use the zipper, use the snaps, so you could snatch the jacket off it kind of quick, but also anchors it down to keep air to come through the zipper opening to get into you. Okay? Around the waist, you've got the pull cord. Make sure it is snug, but not too tight. Now here's why. If you're laying down on this, and I tell people, if you're going to be planning on using this in cold weather where you might get trapped out with it, put it on, whatever layers you're going to be, and go lay down on the couch and just lay there and watch TV a few minutes. If that cord starts digging into you, it's too tight. When I'm standing up, it's not so bad, but when I lay down, if that cord, because the way your body shifts, is digging into you, it can dig in and cause your sciatic to have a problem because of the placement of that cord. I can take just about anybody and tie a rope around the right place around and pull it blood tight and tell them just walk around with it, and it's going to give them sciatic trouble because that muscle where that nerve is coming out is being cramped, and that causes sciatic issues. So therefore, don't put anything tight going around the sciatic. And so that cord down here in the lower areas to cut the draft off the bottom, make sure it's snug but not too tight. You may want to replace it with a shock cord that's kind of loose. There again, if I put really good elastic cord in it, it can pull too tight on its own. That's the reason the Army opted for just a cord that you tied a knot in. So be able to adjust it. Always leave yourself a little bit of adjustment. At the same time, with this neck opening, having the wool scarf that I could drape around and fold over like this and zip up will help trap the heat up here. With the hood up and over my head to help trap like a microclimate around my head. Okay, because remember the head has got to be kept warm. Okay, now your hands can go into the pockets. That's obvious. So you lay there and you do like this. You know these old epaulets and stuff right here? That's a good place to take something that you want to put up there to lean your head against, stick it up underneath that epaulet and hook it in there so I got a place I can lean my head up. It's not going to fall off of me easily. I have taken and made like a horseshoe yoke of a rolled up towel or something like that and run through this so that it was right up here at my head so I could lean back against an object or whatever and keep it as like a pillow around my neck and etc. where it wouldn't fall off easy when I moved. Okay? Now, if I'm not going to be strictly in this, okay, and a lot of the guys in the rear areas where you're still at a forward base, but you'd come back to regroup, rearm, you know, get some meals in you, etc., and then push back up. They would usually have hooches or things like that, places you could bunk, and they didn't have actual bunks for you because that was the guys that were actually stationed there. But they had places for you could get, and people would find places on the floor, back of the hangar, stuff like that, in the back of a truck, wherever, just someplace out of the way. And we learned by Korea that the idea of setting up pup tents in these forward areas for troops was a bad idea because you'd have troops in there asleep and the bad guys would sneak up and start machine gunning them. So the idea of a hooch, a dug fighting trench that was covered over the top. You saw those in Vietnam and Korea where you could get underground and so your troops could get out of the weather, out of the stuff, and be able to sleep. And so if a rocket attack or something came in, they wouldn't be out exposed in the open out there trying to sleep, you know. And so a lot of times, and that's where I learned a lot of this from these guys, where they'd be at a forward base and, you know, they tell you, okay, we got 12 hours, and they'd get a meal in you, and you got about 8 hours you can sleep, and then we're going to start doing such and such. And they didn't have any bunks or facilities for y'all. They just had places you could plop down and sleep. But it may be a little bit warmer. Maybe they got places that's got a pot-bellied stove or something in the shop or whatever. So you didn't have to wear this. Well, that's when you could strip this and turn it into something else. And let me show you that right now. Okay, now I've got my liner out of my M65 jacket. One of the big advantages to this was the fact it could be worn separately. And so you can put it on as its own light jacket. If you can find the armholes, that's the thing. Due to the way that the arms are made on it, it's sometimes a little awkward to get it on. There we go. Alright. Now, the shell liner has buttons so it can be closed up like this. Some guys would go to the tailor and etc. and have them put additional pockets on here by taking an old poncho liner or another one of these that's been damaged and cutting squares of this material to sew in here to have pockets like you'd have on a hoodie or something like that right here, 2 hand pockets. I want to make a modification to go here on the inside to put in a pocket where I can slide my glasses in. But as you can see, it can be worn separately. It's still very warm. Well, one of the great advantages of this is it's very slick. So if I get into a sleeping bag or whatever, it slides around and doesn't bind me up. And so an advantage to this system was if I had a little bit of time, not a big rush, I could strip the shell and put the leave the liner on me and then fold up the jacket into a pillow. Let me show you that right quick. Okay, starting with M65 Fieldjacket. We're going to open up and we're going to pull out the internal hood. Okay? Now, we're going to take the jacket, bring it over here, put the Velcro tab in, and take the snaps and snap the front of the jacket closed. You would also want to make sure you take the stuff out of your pockets. That any kind of hard stuff, you don't want that ended up stuck against your ear or something. Okay. Now, laying it down with the hood going away from you, take one arm, fold it over like this, pulling it to about where the button is for the epaulet, pull it over to there, fold, and then fold back over. Take the other arm, do the same thing, fold it over, but this time you're going to fold it and go downhill with it like this. Alright, now, starting at the bottom, you're going to fold in half, fold in half, fold in half. Now you take the hood and roll it down and in to the hood, like this. Now you have a nice, firm, solid pillow at about the right height, thickness, that you can put your head on to sleep. Now with this as your pillow, your head is also going to keep this warm. So when you get up in the morning, your jacket is warm and you're not putting on a frozen cold jacket. With this extra liner on, and then I'm going to be using a sleeping bag, a blanket, poncho, and a poncho liner. Whatever is available to me, I can put over with this as a standard, bedding, how you do. And here's me a pillow for combat. At the same time, should I have to get up in the middle of the night in a hurry because we got to get going or whatever, all I got to do is hit the thing, dump the jacket out, hit the buttons like that, and now, leaving the liner on, I can put on my jacket. Grab a hold of one of them tabs and put on the jacket. And I'm right back wearing my full thing. No, it's not buttoned and locked in, but it's not going to bind up at the same time. So I have this set up and I can deploy my hood like this and put my hat back on. This will help trap and take care of cold air or something blowing around my ears. Now it has a drawstring where I can bring it up tighter if I need to. If not, then I can just roll it down like that and ignore it so I get the opportunity to properly stow it back in its position. But you see, it was well thought out to be a quick deploy. So as a sleep system, where I don't have anything else, I can take this and separate between the liner and then impact leaves or whatever in here to bulk me up and add me some more insulation, and then come back with the zipper or the snaps to help hold it. So I can put this thing out pretty impressive. I can take it and simply lay the jacket down, opening it up with me wearing the liner and the jacket without it, put a pile of leaves in, lay down and put the jacket on, pile more leaves up in here, put it over, zip it up, see what I'm saying, and have bulk this thing up like a third more in insulation, and still be able to just go snap, snap, and shake and lose 90% of it. I can take it and fold it up into the hood like I just demonstrated to be a pillow, to get my head up off the ground. The head is vitally important to staying warm. The body will always keep the groin area, the armpits, and the head warm. It'll sacrifice fingers and toes to do it. So you have to keep your head insulated. And laying your head down on a cold hunk of ground is a lousy idea. So having that jacket turn into a hard, dense pillow that I can put up there and keep my head up works great. You see a lot of the old war movies with the guys putting their metal helmet down and putting their head on it. That was a dumb idea, because that helmet would suck the heat out and cool your head and cause you trouble. It was better to put the steel helmet down and wear the helmet liner against it than it was to take the whole helmet off. But I was taught this trick by an old vet about how to take and turn the jacket into a pillow, and how quickly you stood up and put your jacket right back on and you're ready to get back into it. At the same time, it helped as part of a sleep system. So if I was in a foxhole or I'm trapped in a position, I could add padding. If I knew I was going to be out here, I could add extra liners to make it a thicker, warmer jacket if the conditions warranted it. If I have a poncho, I could put the poncho on over this, wrap that around me to trap even more air. So the M65 Fieldjacket could be the basis of a sleep system. Your legs and all, you just got to be wearing enough long handles and padding and pile leaves, whatever you got to do. But the torso is what we were focusing on the most to keep you warm. So it was, in effect, a sleep system of a sort. If you go back and look at the actual combat footage of World War II, those guys were wearing greatcoats, big old wool coats. You don't see hardly anybody carrying a sleeping bag or even a blanket, but you see a lot of guys wearing coats, big heavy coats, and they'll have towels, those old green army bath towels wrapped up and stuck around their neck. They could double that up and make a head covering. They could wrap their feet up with it. It was things they had available they could utilize, because the primary goal here was to stay warm. And they're going to do whatever they could to make it happen. Hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please hit that like button before you go. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And click that all notification bell if you don't mind. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.